G'day everyone, welcome to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat, and it's ULEZ time. So let's get on the road a bit, shall we? My first proper real week out on the beast, I suppose, apart from little wanders around the road, around the estate, I suppose. And I am running later than I would like. Just by way of an update and by a bit of a pre-ramble, welcome to those that are joining specifically for ULEZ stuff. This is a 98 Triumph Sprint that's been kind of caffed, kind of ratted, that I have plans to do more with. But first things first is to get it through, or to try and get it through ULEZ. And let's see how we get on. Easy. Running a little bit late. Life. Orthodontist appointment. Not mine, kids. All the normal shit that happens. So I am running a little bit later than I would like. I played with those front clocks, they don't look overly secure to me. They seem further out than they were, but hey, they're not falling off and they're telling me my speed. Yeah, so it is a 51-minute journey, allegedly, which says I'll get there 1 minute past. And my appointment is on the hour. Those newly fitted wing mirrors are better, but they're not great. I am, as usual, getting a fantastic view of my elbow. What are you doing, comedian? I tell you what, it's got some stones, this bike. Let's just see if those stones will get it through ULEZ or not. I have got my packing for the air in the back. I haven't really got time to stop to do it, but I'm going to have to make some time on the journey. So I'm going to shut up now and probably just fast forward bits of this, and we'll see how we get on. Now if you just look over the fence at the garage, there's the London Stadium, home of West Ham.
Right, so in a quiet corner of the industrial estate where the garage is, I got here a bit late. Traffic was a bitch and I got lost. But yeah, seemed nice enough, guys. I've just chucked over my 175 quid. I can hear another bike getting wagged on a rolling road. I'm quite looking forward to listening to mine doing it, actually. I'm legitimately nervous. I don't think this is going to go first time. I know Charlie, the motorcycle rescue, is hopeful that with the restriction on the airflow it will, but no, I don't know. I think I'm pushing my luck to go first time. But we'll see. We'll see. Cool. I should chill out in the sun, see what happens. Okay, so you joined me during my lunch. That was a fun experience. So, what happened? Well, to start the bike up before it went in, it didn't start. There was an electrical issue around the fuse box, but it just takes a bit of jiggering, but that was fine, did that. Got it in there, we put it on the road, come back out and went, I can't test it. I can't get the full rev range to get a test. So So what, I'd over-restricted it. Didn't think I had, but then saying that when you test it yourself or when you ride it yourself, you don't do full rev range. Particularly, you know, around the domestic estate, you do not rag a bike around. So I then pointed out, well, I've restricted the air, and he went fucking ballistic. Why do people think that works? Why do, you know, I've had all sorts of people turn up here with gaffer tape all over their air inflows and socks jammed in and everything. Anyway, I pointed out that I could undo the restriction in about 20 seconds, put it back on. A little bit of whinging that you should be charging to do this again, but no, you know, he said, no, I won't. Put it through. And so with no restriction at all, it spat out a 0.24, which is actually pretty close, bearing in mind it's after a 0.15. So what? You can get it down to that. He reckoned by two means. One, either playing with the carb, the other one by putting cats on the pipes. And I don't think they're doing loan ones anymore. So they're not loaning catalytic converters to put it on to get it through, then take them off again. So what? Beast is over there getting two cats put on his pipes. Could have leaned out, or could have played with the carb and leaned it out through that way, or upjetted it hugely to the limit. Yeah. Now the issue behind that on a on a 3-pot, you know, that's fine on a Harley with one massive carb, or even on a Bonneville with two. But as soon as you start in 3 and 4, they've got to try it, mess around with it, put it back on. It's not quite right. Do it again, do it again, do it again, and the costs just go through the roof. That said, it ain't cheap doing it this way either. So that's 400 quid's worth of cats and labour, which takes the spend for the day up to 570, which is more than I paid for the bike, frankly. But for a bike that is ULEZ compliant, I don't feel too bad. Don't get me wrong, I'd like it was a lot cheaper, but that's a lot of money. You know, what's it worth in resale as is? Probably nearly that if I got a full MOT on it, there or thereabouts. But you know, what's the site about? What's the channel about? Is it about making money off bikes and flipping them? No, it's always nice when you do. What it is really about is saving bikes and keeping them going. Now, I think that with a little bit more beautification, that bike could be a fucking stunner, an absolute stunner. And actually, it's not far off now. But with a bit more beautification, it'll make that bike amazing. But more importantly, by being ULEZ compliant, at the end of all of this, it makes it holds its value better. And if nothing else, it's a fucking scream to ride. Thoroughly enjoyed the ride over here. So you never know, I may end up keeping it. No idea. Right, that'll do me. I'm going to finish my lunch, come pick it up, we'll have a chat when I'm on the bike. Cheers.
Okay, and we're off. And I get the chat going early because I think my camera's going to die on me. All good. Bike's sorted. I'm lighter. So it's now on 0.04, which is a massive drop. And as he was explaining, and confusing me mostly, but as he was explaining about putting the cats on, they put medium cats on it, and they have, because the lights wouldn't do enough, and they quite often on thank you very much, Mrs. On 4 pots, they not quite sure I'm going the right way here, but we'll work it out. On 4 pots they generally do a light on one and a medium on the other. On this they've gone for 2 mediums, and it's just dropped it way low, so I've now got a bike that produces fresh air. and I have to say actually it rides better. It certainly seems to. Yeah, so what, I mean, I'll show you the cats when we're home, and we'll do a bit of a beauty show. A bit of a beauty show on how it looks now. It's got 2 cats on it, but you can't see them. No, they're there because I know what I'm looking at. Look, they're them. I think they might have pushed the exhaust ever so slightly back, but not a drama. Right, let's poodle on home, and then we'll do a little bit of an after action when we get to the back to the yard. So back to more familiar surroundings, and I'm home, and I'll get back to it, but this is a fucking amazing bike to ride. It is by a country mile the best engine on a bike that I've ridden, by a freaking long way, I'm sure. Anyway, right, post-mortem. Well, when I first got to Riverside, parked up, no problem, I was a bit late, no dramas, went to get it started, and I got no electrics at all. The only electrics I got was this, the fan, which goes on whenever. And I thought, is there some sort of trick? I went, oh shit, okay, half took the cowl off, and I've had some issues like jiggling the old fuse box, and I did it again and it worked. And then halfway home I ran out of petrol, went to reserve, filled up with fuel, brill. I was just down the road from the petrol station, and then I had a proper look. It's got a fucking mini blade in it. No wonder it was a dodgy connection. So I've got no key in. 30 amp fuse. Should put a proper one in, one that fits. That might be a good idea. So anyway, that's sorted. Now regrettably, I've still got fuse in my mouth. It's not great. Very unprofessional of you. But then I'm not a professional, as I keep pointing out. Just tuck that down. Excuse me, plug. There we go. Right. Do that fuse because it works. It's just the wrong one. Now, out of pride, I threw the cowling back on myself, hand tight, and then halfway home lost a bolt, so I nearly lost that as well. So apart from the bike slowly but surely disintegrating on the way back, I'm really happy. I think it sounds better. I think it rides better. Frankly, if it rode worse with the cats on, I'd be really annoyed. But actually, it rides better, so just going to do that up properly in a second. Terrible camera work, I'm still in front of it. But yeah, I can't get that fucking thing off now. Right, so what on the big so what's? ULEZ, leaning your bike. The owner, angry Aussie dude, he got very angry and very Aussie about that. He's convinced it's a bit of a fallacy. Looking back at it, or looking at it from his perspective, I don't think it's something he would encourage anyway. But the bit that he really did push, I'll sort that in a second. The bit that he really did push is that speak to him, and they give you the lowdown. Now, he was amazed that this did as well as it did. Right, let me clip it back together and then I'll carry on. There you go, that's better. I didn't want to be saying good things about him while he was looking so forlorn and falling apart. Yeah, right, freaking beautifully, absolutely beautifully. Got a couple of little burns out the bottom of my number plate. It might take a little bit of bendage. Saying that, it's some big old fucking potholes as well. Right, but that's fine. There's no issues with that at all. Yeah, it rides beautifully. It sounds better than it did before. Let's see if you can pick up on it. It doesn't, sort of thing doesn't come across on cameras. It's just a fucking beast. yeah, had an interesting chat about MOT with it actually, because I was saying it's only got a date. Oh, right. So, cats, one on the other side. I'll show you the one on the other side just to prove it. It does mean that the exhaust has moved back by about 5 mil, which is fine by me, although it has now convinced me, because they are fucking ugly cats, they always are. But it does now mean that wrapping is the way forward on this. They've done it black actually, which is good of them. But yeah, cats are just fucking ugly. But it's now at 0.04 its NOx levels, which is fucking incredible. Sorry, I was talking MOTs, wasn't I? I was saying about it's only got a daytime MOT, because the guy was asking how much I paid for it, and I told him 500 quid, and he said, well, they basically gave it to you, didn't they? One of my cheapy fucking indicators just gave up on the way home as well, but hey, glue that back together for MOT. And they're not staying because they're minging. Yeah, the only thing he could think of was maybe the headlight and the beam form from the headlight. So he was querying over how it would fail on indicators when they're not a prerequisite. Now, they are, but not on older bikes, and this is nowhere near old enough. To my top of my head, it's mid-80s, I think. I can't remember which one, but you know, he says, oh, they've got all the right markings on them. They've got the SAE. There, you can see it at the top. Yep. You can't quite see it. That says .SAE. If I turn the headlight off, are you going to be able to see it? Yeah, there you go. .SAE. So it says it's got the marks on it, so it should be all right. But maybe the assessor just didn't like it. Don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, so that's the end of my experience of ULEZ compliancy. As a synopsis, it ain't cheap. So that was 570 all in, which ain't cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but it means that this bike that's got, you know, basically new fresh built engine, which I'm going to have to change the logbook for, has got, you know, a life in perpetuity. Yeah, so happy Nat. Oh, do you know what? I was annoyed at the time when I was paying, but I'm always annoyed when I'm paying for anything. But I was annoyed when I was paying. The ride home convinced me it was the right thing to do by this bike, because it rides so much better, and it's just a fantastic machine to ride, and it just deserves to be ridden. Now, the regrettable nature of the way things are going, and particularly around here, is that ULEZ will be a requirement for you to bounce a bike around, and this is more than compliant now. It almost guffs fresh air. What am I going to do? 4:45. I've got time. I'm going to put the original airbox back in, put the filter back in, so it went through the ULEZ with an empty basket after your man got annoyed that I tried to riching it up by putting foam in it, because I'd overdone it. Well, because I'd done it at all, frankly, but because I'd overdone it, it wasn't getting full rev range, so they couldn't test it properly. But, you know, it's a nice enough guy. They're trying to keep these bikes going, and they need to also keep an eye on their license while they're doing it. Right, cool. So, considerably happier, but really quite poor in that. Signing off. I'll catch you later. Ta-da.